work that out. Okay, our ingredients. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the ingredients. All you'll need to do is check that you've got them on your workspace. So there's a French term, it's called a mise en place, and that just means getting organized or putting things into position. So what I'm going to do here, so that you don't run all over your kitchen all through the session, check out what, as I read it out, check that you've got it on the workspace, or go and grab it during this time, and that's going to make it super easy for you at the end. You'll see that, well, you don't really see, but on this side of my workbench, I've got all of my ingredients, and on this side of my workbench, I've got all of my equipment. So it's my husband in the background getting keys out of the cupboard. So you've got your ingredients on one side, your equipment on the other, and that just makes it easy for you to go and find things. Fantastic. I'll just check if anyone's, yeah, we're all in. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is some crushed wheat cereal, like just Wheat Bix. So you need 5 of those. You'll need some cocoa powder. You'll need some vanilla extract or essence or whatever you've got, whatever you use. Different people use different things. You'll need some coconut oil. You'll need some Greek yogurt. I've got some coconut yogurt. We'll do the same thing. You'll need some self-raising flour. You'll need some coconut, some desiccated coconut. You'll need some coconut if you've got coconut sugar. If you haven't, you can use some brown sugar, or you can use just normal sugar. I couldn't actually find today at the shops any coconut sugar. So I've got something I've never tried before, which is monk fruit sweetener, which is very unusual. But anyway, it's all about giving things a go. That's what I love about cooking. You can give things a go. So you'll need some coconut sugar or any kind of sugar. You'll need an egg. You'll need some milk, whether you use almond, soy, rice, cow's milk. You'll need a little bit of chocolate. And you'll need a little bit of olive oil. You could use just a little bit more of the coconut oil if you don't have any olive oil. Fantastic. Any questions? Great, fantastic. All right, in terms of equipment, you will need a slice tray or a baking dish. Mine is very well loved, as you can see. You don't want a big container. If you have a big container, your slice isn't going to be deep enough. We cooked a slice last night in the dessert class on Friday night, and somebody started out by using a big baking tray, and it just meant that their slice was going to be really thin and crispy. So you want it to be, this is an old-fashioned, in the old days we would call it a Lamington tin, but it's like a slice tin, and it's about 30 centimeters long. You'll need some baking paper. You'll need a mixing bowl, just a standard mixing bowl, a large spoon, a spatula, got a spatula, a knife, some measuring cups and measuring spoons, a saucepan, a chopping board, got my chopping board, and just another large bowl. Fantastic, excellent. All right, all ready to go? If you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Great, Mateo, fantastic, excellent. Isla, you're doing well. Great, fantastic. Sophie, great. Stephanie, excellent. And we've got 2 Sophies, that's fun. Great, excellent. And Lucy, excellent. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we always do the background things or the preparation work first. So the first thing we're going to do is turn our oven onto 180 degrees. The next thing we're going to do is line our baking tray. So I sneeze every single time. So I've got a little bit of spray oil, which I'm using a very tiny amount. All I'm using the spray oil for is to ensure that my baking paper sticks to the bottom. So what I do is I just push it into my baking tray, and so that you can see the little indents, and then I just tear it. You could use a pair of scissors. I just keep it nice and simple. I know that some people who are real details orientated want to use the scissors. Excellent. So right, once you've done that, put it at the side. And the first thing that we're going to do is get our wheat bix, and we're going to crush 5 wheat bix into our bowl. Just super, super easy. It doesn't have to be fine crumbs, but you'll know when it's just pretty much disintegrated. So 5 of your wheat bix. Right, crushing it up. And this is going to absorb all the liquid. So one more. I'm using gluten-free today. I had to go buy wheat bix. We used to always have wheat bix in our house, but now that my girls are a little bit older, nobody eats wheat bix. So once it's all crushed up, don't go crazy and try to get it into the minute crumbs, because it will just absorb the moisture anyways. So I'm pretty much done. So you can sort of see, I've got some big lumps, but not good. Fabulous. All right, then we're going to get 2 tablespoons of cocoa. Now, if you're using cacao powder, the same thing, 2 tablespoons. So 2 flat tablespoons. So when I say flat, you want it to be an accurate measure, not heaped over the top or underneath. So I've got my little measuring spoon here from Kmart, which I love more than any other measuring spoon I've ever had. And it's 2 tablespoons. And I've just got a flat measure. If you can see that against me, it's just a flat measure. What I do as I go, I put lids on, and in this case, I've got my cocoa in a little Ziploc bag, because otherwise I get cocoa everywhere. So if yours is in a plastic container, make sure you just take that extra 10 seconds to put your lid on, or to fold across the room. That's another option you could do. Great. All right, so you've got 2 tablespoons of cacao or cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Double check if you've got a set of measuring spoons. Double check that you've definitely got the right spoon. And I will never measure over the bowl. I always measure at the side, just in case I spill things. Otherwise, it's a bit difficult to it's okay with vanilla because vanilla is delicious. But if you put too much of other things and you've measured it over the bowl and some goes in, that's one of the reasons why I use these little like little cutting boards, because then I can easily clean things. So we've got our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We're just going to skip over the coconut oil for the moment. We'll get to that. We'll come back to that. 1/3 of a cup of natural yogurt. 1/3 of a cup of natural yogurt. Beautiful. Popping your lid on at the end. One-third of a cup. Great. All right, so 1/3 of a cup of natural yogurt, and then 1 cup of self-raising flour. 1 cup of self-raising flour. Again, don't measure over the bowl, do it at the side. And what I do is I put the cup down and I pour the flour into my measuring jar. I'm giving my measuring cup just a little tap on the bottom so that it settles down, to make sure that I don't have any air pockets in there and that I've definitely got a level measure. So you don't want it over the top or your mixture is going to end up being too dry. You don't need to sift this. So 1 cup of self-raising flour. One cup of self-raising flour and 1 cup of desiccated coconut. I was hoping I would have just the right amount in my container, but 1 cup of desiccated coconut. And I'm patting it on the bottom, patting it on the bottom, patting it, tapping it. Great. All right, let's just make sure we've got everything. Wheat Bix, cocoa powder, done. Vanilla extract, done. Coconut oil, we're going to come back to that. Natural yogurt, done. Self-raising flour, done. Desiccated coconut, done. Excellent. And then we're going to use 1/2 cup of whatever kind of sugar you've got. 1/2 cup. If you're using coconut sugar and you've never tasted it before, I want you to just get a little bit on your finger and have a taste of it. It's just good to see the different kinds. You don't want a big spoonful of it, but just have a little bit of taste. Like I'm going to taste my monk fruit. Oh, how unusual. And then just wash your finger afterwards. Popping that on top of your mixture. All right. You're going to get half a cup of milk. Half a cup of milk. I haven't forgotten the egg. But don't put the milk away at this stage. Don't put the milk away because we may use a little bit more of it. All right, half a cup of milk. Then if you're waiting, I want you to crack your egg and give it a whisk. I've just got a little metal fork and I'm giving my egg a whisk. I never crack my egg straight into the bowl because we don't want, if there was any yucky bit of the egg or there's a little bit of shell, it's so much easier to get it out in a little bowl than trying to fish it out when you've got it mixed with all the other ingredients. So I've got my egg and I'm using my spatula to get as much of that egg out. Great. Fantastic. Use your spatula to get as much of that egg that you can. Brilliant. Just pour it on top of your mix, the rest of your ingredients. Excellent. And the last thing, we're going to go all the way back up to the coconut oil. And we want 1/3 of a cup. So Daisy, 1/3 of a cup. And we're going to, you can either pop it in your stove or you can put it into the microwave. It'll take hardly any time at all to melt. So the first thing that I'm going to do is wash my, I'm just going to wash my 1/3 cup measure out. And use a spoon to get the coconut milk out, or the coconut oil, because my coconut oil is hard. So if you've already melted it, you can put it straight into your mixture. Well done. I love it, guys. For those of us that haven't, we're going to, funny sort of thing, coconut. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? It won't matter. I'm going to put my whole jar into my microwave for maybe 10 seconds. Great, my mixture has loosened up. Right. You don't want your your oil to be too hot because we don't want our egg to scramble. So I'm holding my bowl with one hand and we're just going to keep turning our mixture until it starts coming together. Now, it is going to be, we want it to be, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say it's that the coconut and the wheat mix are going to absorb all of that moisture. So we just want to keep mixing it for a while. What we're looking for is no white patches of flour or coconut. Well, we're going to see the coconut, but not the flour. You might need to scrape your spoon on the side of the bowl just to get any moisture off the spoon and into the mixture. And we're just going to keep mixing it around for a while. So it might take about 2 minutes before it starts coming together. Oh, it's a bit of a workout, isn't it? My goodness. Now, if after a minute it's still really, really powdery, then you might need to add a little bit more milk. And you would add, how much milk did we put in to begin with? And then when you are done, you can then just push or place, whatever the word is, your mixture into your tray. And you can either use your hands or a spatula. So make sure your hands are clean. I'm going to push mine into my tray. So we want it to be a nice, smooth finish. Mine fits my tray perfectly. So you might need to take one bit from one space and put it into another space. And pushing it well and truly into the corners. Fantastic. So take your time to do this, because what we do want to do is we want to have a nice straight line. What you don't want is like the desert, you know, the Sahara Desert with all sorts of mounds. And so have a look, turn it around, turn your tray around, because that will give you a different perspective. And I'm taking my fingers and I'm going to go all the way around the edge. In fact, I'm going to use my spatula to do this. And I'm using my spatula to make it nice and flat, because I think my hands, I've got too many indentations from my hands. So I'm using my spatula flat and pushing down. And when you're happy with that, you can then open the oven up and with oven mitts or a tea towel, put your tray into the oven. And we're going to put our 20-minute timer on. Back, great. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this chocolate now. Like, it's going to take at least 3 minutes. It's really quick. But I suggest that you don't do this until you're ready, until your slice is cooked. So we want to take the slice out and put it, and you can spread it over the top of your, you can spread the chocolate over your slice. So where we're at now is Step 6. So once the slice has cooled, you can put it on before that. Make the icing by combining the chocolate and the olive oil in a saucepan. Stir over a low heat until starting to melt. Remove from the heat and continue stirring until smooth. All right, so what we usually do is we would use chocolate and some butter. What we're doing here is just showing you a little bit of a different way to do it. And it doesn't actually matter how much chocolate you use. So I'm using half of my chocolate melts and I'm using 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It's not olive oil, I'm using the coconut oil just because it's and I've got a wooden spoon. Now the reason, and we don't want a wet wooden spoon because our chocolate will seize up. Okay. The reason that you don't do it before, the reason that you don't do it now and then is because we don't want our chocolate to cool down, heat up, cool down, heat up, cool down. So just wait. I know you're super keen, but just wait until your slice comes out of the oven. So I'm just going to show you what goes on and then you'll be very able to do it yourself. And I'm doing it over a low to medium heat. A low to medium heat. And I want the oil to cover my chocolate. I don't want that chocolate to burn on the bottom of my saucepan because burnt chocolate is horrible. So, but my suggestion is, just like the recipe, bring it out, bring your slice out of the oven and let it cool down for at least 5 minutes before you put your chocolate topping on. And in that time, that's probably the time that you could make your chocolate topping, is when you've taken your slice out of the oven, then cook your chocolate sauce or chocolate topping, and then you can pour it on top. It will take, depending, maybe 10 minutes to set or to go firm. If you put it into the, you can't put it into the fridge because it'll be hot. You can eat it whenever you want to eat it. But when it's firm, that's the ideal time to eat it. Beautiful. And that is it. Super easy. That was probably the easiest recipe we've ever done. Excellent. All right, guys. Well, that is it. I'd love to see photos. I always like to see photos. So if you post something on your social media or your parents' social media or email me something, I'd love to see what you've cooked and finished off with.